Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon everyone. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. To Allah we belong and to Him we return. The Quran in Surah Ahzab says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. Which narrates, among the believers are men true to what they promised Allah. Among them is he who has fulfilled his vow to the death, and among them is he who awaits. Chapter 33, verse 23. My name is Hawaa Abdullah. Brian Matthew Climax, known as Amin Abdullah, was my father, my dad. He was a loving father, husband, son, brother, and uncle. To me, my dad was a role model. He was a best friend. He was the best, absolute best dad in the world. He was my protector. If I needed help, anything, like, for example, I got a pop tire on the freeway, my dad immediately, I would call him, he would send my brothers and stop whatever he was doing to make sure that I was safe. He was my teacher. He talked to me about the world, about my faith, Islam. He taught my brothers how to be young black Muslim men. He was all about education. He got his high school diploma and he dreamed more of us. He wanted us to move forward and get more of an education and become scholars. And with that, he advocated for our education. Following his teachings, I got my teaching credential last week. Unfortunately, my father was not able to make it because he was working here. Time schedules would not be aligned. He would have been stuck in traffic to make it there in time. So he was only able to watch through videos and pictures. But when I tell you, my father was so proud of me. He was so proud of me and my siblings. He knew teaching was my passion, and he encouraged me every day to pursue the career that I wanted. Not only was he an amazing father, he was a good son. He called his mom every night to check on him, her. And I would sometimes leave school to sneak up on him. I would come here, drive by these very streets. He would be so vigilant in protecting the masjid, protecting the children. From there, he would watch and see my car. I would pull up inside of the masjid. He would walk up to me and he would be like, hey, I had a feeling it was you. I saw your car pass by, which meant he took his job seriously. So seriously to the point, sometimes he didn't even want to eat. He wanted to save his food till after he left the job because he was afraid that if he went on his break, something bad would happen. My brothers and I and sister, we are all now living up to his legacy. My dad was the #1 advocate for safety and keeping our community safe. He stood against any form of hate. He took his job seriously to protect everyone here. He would want our community to stand together as one. That's exactly what he would want. And I hope this moment we can all come together and to be kind to one another and to remember who he truly was. Regardless if you were a Muslim, okay, if you were Christian, if you were Jewish, if you had no faith, he didn't care. He would treat you human to human. He would smile at people he did not know. You could see the happiness and just who he was as a person, just looking at his face. And I believe that's exactly the legacy he left behind. He wants all of us to be better. Regardless of who we are, what we identify as, he wants us to be better. And that's exactly what I, my family, and I hope every single other person here strives to do every single day. Make this world a better place. As of right now, my family is together, supporting one another. Allah says, when one door closes, another one opens. All of our community and help and support we have received shows us another door has been opened. Even though he's passed and he's not here right now to be with us, you guys all being here, having all these people here to support us, stand with us side by side, that's another door door that I believe God has opened for us. And I really, really appreciate it. We are so grateful for the community pitching in to support our family right now. And we truly hope from the bottom of our hearts that we can continue to live our father's legacy and to make this world safer, better for children, better for all of us, no matter our orientation, what we look like. Thank you so much. No further questions, please.